Good afternoon. Yesterday we already discussed about the concept of a timer, and I already solved one problem of an industrial application where we had started 3 pumps A, B and C, not simultaneously but after a certain period of a delay, one after another. Pump A we started after 1.5 seconds, pump B we started after 3 seconds, pump C we started after 4.5 seconds. However, keep it in mind, in an industrial application, sometimes you are supposed to repeat this cycle. Repeating a cycle means the pump which we have started A, B, C in a certain sequence, after a certain period of time, all 3 pumps should be shut off and again they should be started in a same sequence as per the requirement. In other words, we are supposed to repeat the events, or we are supposed to repeat the cycle of events, and for that purpose you are supposed to use a cyclic timer. So whenever you are supposed to repeat the cycle of an event, you use the cyclic timer. So let us see the same problem. Now the problem is like this, as I already told you yesterday. Pump A will start after 1.5 seconds, pump B will start after 3 seconds, pump C will start after 4.5 seconds. After a certain period of time, all these 3 pumps will turn off and they will start once again. So that time I will not take it too long. Let us make assumption that after 6 seconds, all 3 pumps will be shut off or will be turned off, and again they will start in the same sequence as we have discussed earlier. If we remember, or if you remember correctly, keep it in mind, there were 2 input switches which we had used. One, X0, a start button which also activated the timer and which also activated that enable bit, and there is a one master switch which I have already discussed to you. I have made only one small change in that particular problem. I want to turn off all these 3 pumps A, B, C after 6 seconds, and I want to repeat that cycle of operation without manual help continuously as long as I run that particular program by using PLC automatically. So just come over here. Okay. So this is the ladder diagram. Keep it in mind, I am not going into the details of how we have allotted the input address and with the output address. It is same method which we have adopted in an earlier problem. Only change is, now I want to repeat that particular cycle. So one more timer I have added in this particular ladder diagram. There were only 3 timers in an earlier problem. T0 for 1.5 seconds, T1 for 3 seconds, T2 for 4.5 seconds. I have added one more timer. You can see over here. This is timer number 3, T3 for 6 seconds. For 6 multiplied by 10, hence it is 60. And I have used the NC contact of this particular thing to reset this particular timer, this particular timer, this particular timer, so the cycle will get repeated after every 6 seconds. Rest of the thing will remain same. I would like to show you the simulation of this particular thing also, so that you will understand. Keep it in mind, this is your NO contact. So you start this, as soon as it is turned on, the enable bit is turned on, timer timing will start ticking. When this reaches to the 15, this will get closed and pump A will be turned on. When this will reach to this particular 30, means 3 seconds, T1 will be turned on, which will turn on a pump B, and when this will reach to the 45, means 4.5 seconds, this particular T2 will be turned on and pump C will turn on. And when this reaches to the 60 second, this NC contact will get open. They will cut off a power supply of T0, T1 and T2 and also of a T3, and it will reset this particular timer, means they go back to its original position and then again start counting the time from 0 to the preset value, and cycle will be repeated without a manual intervention as long as you run this particular program. Okay, so we have already seen, or we already discussed how to use a timer for simple application as well as the concept of a timer, the cyclic timer. Now let us start solving one more problem, slightly different from the earlier one. Now the problem is like this one. There are two heaters, heater 1 and heater 2. You can call it as a heater A or heater B, doesn't make any difference at all. The first heater will be start immediately. After that, the second heater or the heater B will start after 10 seconds. After 45 seconds, both heaters will be turned off and a cooling fan will be turned on. After 60 seconds, the cooling fan will be turned off. There are two inputs. One is a start switch, which will turn on this particular system. But there is one master switch, and if this master switch is on, the system will not run at all. I have not used a concept of cyclic timer over here because I don't want to repeat that particular cycle. If we want to, we can repeat it as I have already told you in an earlier problem. You can try out that particular cyclic, or you can add a cyclic timer afterward once you able to run this particular program satisfactorily. So just come over here. So this is our problem, as I already told you. When start is pressed, heater 1 turns on. You can call this heater 1 A also, doesn't make any difference at all. After 10 seconds, heater 2 turns on. It can be heater B. After 45 seconds, heater 1 and heater 2 both are turned off and cooling fan A is turned on. After 60 seconds, cooling fan is turned off. If master switch is on, system will remain off. Now, as I already told you, there is no hard and fast method of constructing that particular PLC diagram. But if we use this particular method, which I am going to explain it to you, you will be able to tackle even a complicated problem also. So our first step is to write down the number of input and to write down the number of output. So here I have written input X0, start switch. The type also I have written over here. It is not mandatory. I have written just for the sake of my convenience and understanding, normally open. Then X1, a master switch. Again I have written over here this particular type, normally close. And they will be connected in a series the way we have connected in an earlier problem also. And the addressing system over here is inputs are denoted by X0, X1, X2 like that. On the right hand side I have written over here output. Again the outputs are designated by Y0, Y1, Y2, Y3 like that. So there are three outputs, the heater 1, heater 2 and cooling fan. And I have assigned this particular address Y0 for heater 1, Y1 for heater 2 and Y2 for cooling fan A. Keep it in mind, assigning the address is very, very important, because if you do not assign an address, PLC will not be able to work at all. It will not understand the logic at all. What is to be turned on, when it is to be turned off, what are the input signal, from which input signal it should be turned on. So all this information is required to be provided in that ladder diagram, and hence assigning of that particular addresses is very important. One more thing which I forgot to mention to you earlier. Suppose you have assigned the address, and if you connect physically the devices at some other place, you will not be able to get the desired result. In other words, the start switch you have assigned the address x0, but if you connect it to the x2 physically, the program and actual ground situation will differ from one another and you will not be able to run a system. So the addresses which has been assigned, same should be used when you connect physically the devices to the PLC in a ground, in an actual system or actual on a ground system. Now here 3 timers are used. Timer 1, T on, I have given an address T0, 10 seconds. Base, as I already told you, is a 0.1. So multiplied by that particular 10. So 10 multiplied by 10, 100. T1, 45 seconds. So 45 multiplied by 10. T2, 60 seconds multiplied by 10. So 600. These are again 2 lines. You can see over here. One on the left hand side is a 24 volt. One on the right hand side is a 0 volt. And you are always going to connect the input devices on the left hand side, output devices on the right hand side, and contacts of a timer or contacts of a relay or contacts of the counter, which we are going to discuss afterward, will become or will appear on the left hand side. So the first line is, again, X0 is a NO contact. In series with this, I have connected this particular X1, which is a master control switch. If this is on, system will not turn at all. Heater 1 is to be turned on immediately. So I have connected it directly over here. You can see the T1 I have added, but why it is added, that I will let you know afterward. So as soon as you press X0, this will turn green. It will turn on this Y0. At the same time, the enable bit of this timer will be turned on. Timer will get activated. Timing will start counting. 3 timer I have used, T0, T1 and T2. And I have used a T0 contact over here. So when it reaches 100 or a 10 second, I am going to connect it with the Y1, that is heater 2. It will be turned on. When it reaches this particular 450, that is 45 seconds, T1 will get closed. That I have connected to Y2. So cooling fan will be turned on, and these 3 things, Y0, Y1 and Y2, are to be turned off. You can see it over here. After the the Y0 is to be turned on, turn off, after that particular 45 seconds. Y1 also is supposed to be turned off after 45 seconds. So this NC contact I have used to turn off this particular thing. Keep it in mind, after 60 seconds, after 45 seconds, this will turn off, this one and this one. But as this NO contact gets closed, cooling fan will be turned on, and cooling fan is supposed to be turned off after 60 seconds. So NC contact of this particular thing I have added over here, so that when this will reach to the 60 seconds, this NC contact will get open, it will cut up a power supply, and cooling fan will be turned off. I would like to share the simulation of this particular thing so you can verify whether our program is correct or not. So this is regarding this particular problem. Just a small thing which I forgot to mention. I will share the simulation of a cyclic timer, but will not be able to share the simulation of the second problem of this particular 2 heater and that of cooling fan. Unfortunately, right now that simulation is not available with me, so that I will share it afterwards. Now, one small thing which I would like to let you know, all of us are fighting with corona, and you must be following the instructions of the government, and you must be playing a role of that Corona warrior. Just small hint or a request for all of you, preferably don't get out of the house at all. If you go out of the house, don't forget to wear a mask. It is a must. Don't take it lightly. Take care of your family. Stay at home. Have a nice day, and do contact for your queries, doubts on my WhatsApp number, which I have shared in an earlier video. If you want, I can repeat it once again: 9881153 between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Bye. Take care.